The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome, guys, to the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Very special guest that we have today. I'm excited to introduce Bahar Tavakolian, a leading real estate broker in Manhattan, New York City, as our guest. Bahar has carved out a successful career in one of the world's most competitive markets. In this episode, we'll explore her journey, discuss the challenges and opportunities in NYC real estate, and gain valuable insights from her experience. Whether you're in the market or just curious about the world of real estate, Bahar's expertise will provide inspiration and guidance to those listening. So tune in and get ready to learn. Bahar, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you joining us on this podcast. How have you been today?
I've been great. Thank you.
Amazing. Why did you choose real estate out of all the industries that you could have chosen? What's your story in that regard? And how has your early life got you to where you are today?
It was somewhat serendipitous how I ended up in real estate. It wasn't a plan at all. I hadn't thought about going to real estate when I was growing up and thinking about what I wanted to be. So it was very much of a, by chance type of a transition. And I came from very different background, very different educational background, very different professional background. I was doing engineering and high tech.
Wow.
And, tech startup, biotech startup in Princeton. So the way I pivoted was a pretty dramatic pivot away from what I had been trained and what I had done before. But, and I really didn't know what I was signing up for. But over time, I persevered, and I got to become successful at it, and I started to like it. And it's and now I'm very thrilled to be doing what I'm doing. And what I like about it is the fact that no 2 days are alike. There's always a surprise around the corner, a challenge around the corner, a problem to be solved, fires to be put out, and new calls and requests and that come in and you need to address. So you have to be really just on your A game all the time, at the least expected time, on vacation on an island, may get a call in the middle of a flight. I've had calls come in from clients, from potential clients. So to be successful, you sort of have to have that on key, always flipped so that you can address everything immediately and in a fashion.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's like running your own business. You never really switch off, especially when you're top of your game, right? You mentioned something quite interesting there in when you were answering that. You said something along the lines of you started enjoying it when you got good. So the natural question would be, there was a period of time when you weren't good. And during that time, did you not enjoy it? And if you didn't enjoy it, what kind of kept you going, I guess?
No, I was always good.
Okay,
but
okay.
The learning curve is not that steep. It wasn't like what I had done before, where the learning curve is really steep. This wasn't that. This was what you learn is it's a lot of it is just people skills. And what I meant by, maybe I should have phrase it differently, not got good at it, but that once the business started to get more established, and I got more established, and I started to have a pipeline of business, and people started to know me and reach out to me, that that sort of changed the character of what I was doing. So before, once you even though there's not a high steep learning curve, it's a very tough industry to make a mark in. It's not about learning, it's not rocket science, but it's an extremely competitive industry. There's it's a low barrier to entry, but for you to become successful, and become, by successful I mean make a name and have a reputation, that requires time and experience. So it can't be just overnight, because you have to sort of show and prove and have the track record, so that you can inspire confidence in potential clients. So it's just that you have to have staying power, you have to be consistent, you have to be, like I said, on top of your game. You have to know the market, you have to know the micro markets, you have to know each building in the city. And so that's and understand clients and clients' needs, whether they're sellers or buyers or renters. So that just comes with time and experience.
100%. And that kind of leads me on to my next question. I searched you up on Instagram, before this interview, and your Instagram page says you're a top broker, so to speak. And I guess, in your experience, when you're operating in such a highly competitive market like New York City, how do you actually gain trust, when everyone's trying to get the best deal and gain trust at the same time? How does one do that?
By just showing up every day and being available at every hour, every day, and having the answers and solutions to all kinds of problems that clients and referrals have. So I don't know, today, for example, a client wanted me to put them in touch with a broker who specializes up in the Berkshires. So to find the right broker, make sure they're the right people for my clients, so that so that's one thing. The other thing is, I'm selling an apartment that I just finished a tour, to know every little detail about the building, the developer, the history, the finishes, the materials, the appliances, the air, what we call air rights in the city. How are we going to, is this part of a historic district? Is it not? Every little detail to have that, what are the costs of X, Y, and Z for this unit? So to be able to have everything at your fingertips and be able to respond intelligently and guide intelligently, and have and show integrity and responsiveness, and have inspire respect, and so that clients understand that what I'm saying is based on market intelligence. It's based on a lot of legwork and doing my homework, and 99% of my business, as well as I think everybody else who's in this industry, comes from referrals. So you have clients who are satisfied with the level of expertise that you provide, and they recommend you to their friend or their sister or brother or colleague. And so that's how I build the business. Anyone. Really.
It's like playing the long game, right? And then it's something that you didn't explicitly mention it, but what I got from that is like the devil's in the details, really, because the more information that you can extract from a particular site or a building and you can give to a potential client or a buyer, the better informed decision they can make in terms of a purchasing decision or an investment decision. And I guess you get the credibility for that if that pulls off, basically, right? So the more you do that on a repeated basis and the higher quality lead that you generate, the better trust that you can actually, configure to the end consumer, right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah,
Trust and you have to do that, and that comes from a lot of hard facts, but also a lot of intangibles.
Yeah.
That you understand what the client is asking, even though the words may not be that. What is their concern? So yes, it's inspiring confidence and trust in clients, and that's where you get to grow the business.
Yeah. It's very intriguing for me to have these conversations with people like yourselves who are actively successful in very highly competitive markets like New York City, when there's, like you said, very low barrier to entry, loads of people coming through. Everyone thinks they're, so to speak, the next big thing, right? What do you believe is key to maintaining long-term client relationships, especially with someone who's newly coming in and they can kind of promise clients the world of what they can do, but between yourself and your longest reigning clients, what I guess communication is obviously a big part, but is there anything else that you could say that would be a key factor in maintaining these long-term relationships?
Yeah, communication, of course, is very important. I think first and foremost, you have to be true to yourself, be genuine, be who you are. Because if you're not and you're trying to be something else or someone else, that just falls flat.
Yeah.
His face. So and people, there's no traction, there's no long-term anything with that. So you have to be true to who you are. And there is they're all we brokers come in all shapes and sizes, and we each bring something unique to the table. And and we attract the types of clients who are appreciate who we are. So there's there's a lot of business to go around, and you just have to have that, be genuine, be good at what you do,
Yeah.
be consistent. It's a full-time job. You can show up one day and take 3 days off.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. You have to be available. You have to take it seriously. It is a profession. It is a business, and it's so to run a successful business, you can't do it part-time or half-heartedly. You have to put your all into it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think that goes to show for any new person starting out in the game of being truthful and honest and being consistent and showing up essentially. I guess, Bahar, can you share a memorable success story that from your career, like almost like a high, I mean, I guess someone who's been in real estate or been in the industry as long as you have, there must be a highlight reel of instances of successful stories that you got over the line. But is there something that you can share with us that's been really memorable to you personally and a career achievement that particularly stands out to you to this day?
I mean, there are many. Maybe a recent one is when a client bought something in Soho, a loft, and after we bought it, he was like, I wish I had more space. And then I thought about it, and I remembered a client from a few years ago had a home in Soho, and I just vaguely recalled, didn't he live in this building? And I think this is where he lived. And I just reached out to him, and he happened to own the apartment next door. And so, he wasn't ready to sell. He had no intention of selling, but I managed to make a deal where it was a win-win-win. So I made it an attractive proposition for the neighbor to sell. And we did something. It's a very smart man, but I made some suggestions so that he basically changed. He bought something else and he sold this to my other client. So I made a deal out of nothing, and everybody was very happy. So that's just a recent thing, but there have been many memorable. We can all write books about all the different experiences we've had.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of privacy and discretion in our business that I take very seriously. So a lot of, the most memorable experiences, shall remain nameless, so to speak, because of all the privacy
Those are ones for your personal highlight book that you can tell the grandkids, I guess, right?
Once,
but essentially,
once I get it'll be all out there.
Yeah, of course, of course. Essentially, what you're saying is killing two birds with one stone, spotting an opportunity and kind of thinking on your feet to build up another opportunity, and by the grace of Almighty, it's worked out for all parties basically. So a little bit of luck there, I sense, and I think you need that, especially when you've been in the game for so long. The lucky moments almost come naturally, I guess, right?
Prepared, luck presents itself to the prepared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, Bahar, I mean, I'm always one thing that really intrigues me is time. So little of it, we can't get all of it. We can't get any of it back. It's one resources that we don't have a limited supply of. And being halfway through the year, how quickly time has flown through 2024. It's amazing. Um, did you have you the goals that you set out at the start of the year, did you actually achieve all of them, or do you, with working in the extremely competitive marketplace with seven plates that you're spinning at a time, have you kind of closed that gap of reaching your goals at the end of the year? And how are you kind of adjusting your plan in order to reach all of them before the end of the year, I guess?
I can't say I've reached all my goals because I set my goals pretty high, so that I aim really high. But I'm very happy and proud to say yes, we've reached many milestones that we set for our team, and so I'm very happy with where we are middle of the year. We're well on our way towards meeting most of the goals we set, but it's never enough. It's always, the goalpost keeps moving, and it's on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So yes, the short answer to your question is yes, I've met many of the goals, but it's a moving target.
Yeah, I can imagine. Great. Well, Bahar, we've got one last fun question for you. The Icon Real Estate is the #1 real estate podcast network, and it's our passionate project to make podcasting more accessible worldwide. So I guess my fun little question for you is, if you had your own podcast, what would you call it and why?
Interesting. I have to think about it, but I would call it life and real estate. It's just life. It's life.
Yeah.
So something along those lines, life and real estate,
Real estate. Perfect. Okay.
But I'll think about it.
Not an issue. Sorry to put you on the spot with such a brave toss. No, thank you for that. Well, guys, if you've taken as much benefit from as I have listening to Bahar's amazing achievements and her long reign and consistently dominating the competitive world of real estate in New York City, then if you've extracted 10% of value, then you're onto a winner, really. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the Icons in Real Estate. I've been your host, Masood Al-Haq, and Bahar, thank you so much for your time. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.